Oh, hey there, sugar. I didn't see you sneaking in like that. Go on, get comfortable. That's right. Slide right under those covers. Ain't nobody gonna bother you here. Just you and old Herbert. I got myself a real special story for you tonight. It's something that's been whispered about in these parts for longer than I've been watching. Living here. I call it The Tale of the Midnight Visitor. Now, you don't gotta be scared, unless, of course, you got one of them there windows that don't lock too good. Or maybe you like sleeping with it cracked open, letting the night air just flow right on in. I do appreciate a good draft, you know. Lets me know when someone's been sneaking around. But before I get all tangled up in this little bedtime story, I want you to do old Herbert a favor. Go ahead and hit that big old subscribe button. Just give it a little tap tap, like someone knocking on your window late at night. Real soft, real gentle. Yeah, just like that. If you do, I promise I'll keep telling you all my favorite stories. The kind that makes your skin tingle and your heart thump a little harder. Oh, I can feel you blushing already. I do love it when you blush. Now, let's you and me get real comfortable, 'cause this story's got a whole lot of midnight secrets. And if you're real good, maybe I'll tell you something else you didn't know. Something just for you. So, are you ready? I bet you are. Willow's Edge ain't no ordinary town. Oh, no. It's a sleepy little place where the fog rolls in thick as syrup and them old houses creak like they got secrets they ain't never shared. I like that. Secrets, they make things interesting. At the edge of town, the trees get real dense, branches twisting up like fingers reaching for the sky. Folks around here say the woods got eyes, watching, waiting. Maybe they do. Now, if you listen real close and around midnight, when the moon's hanging low and them crickets go quiet, you might just hear it. A little tap-tap, just like the one I asked you for earlier. Only this one ain't so friendly. It's the midnight visitor, letting you know he's come calling. Nobody knows where he comes from or why. But folks say if you hear that tap and you open your window, you're going to find out real soon. But don't you worry, sugar. I'm here to tell you the whole story, every last little detail. So get comfy and maybe lock that window real tight. Or don't. I won't mind either way. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right. The whispers. The ones that start real soft. Just outside your window. Them whispers. You ever heard something just outside your window, sugar? Not too loud. Just soft enough to make you lean in a little closer. That's how it always starts. A little murmur, real gentle. Like it don't want to wake you. Just let you know it's there. They say the whispers start real late, sometime after midnight, when the fog rolls thick and the wind dies down. Folks in Willow's Edge been hearing them whispers for years, talking about things that don't make no sense, like secrets you never told anyone, or dreams you ain't had yet. I like dreams. I like watching people dream. Faces all soft and sweet, but them whispers, they're different. Ain't nothing sweet about 'em. They slither right through them cracked windows, curl up round your ears and just sit there, breathing real slow. Some say it feels like ice running down your spine. Others say it feels like somebody leaning in real close, whispering, just for you. And if you're brave enough, or maybe just real dumb, you open that window to listen, and that's when the real fun begins. Oh, yeah, that's when you get to meet the midnight visitor himself. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, no. I wouldn't want to rush you, sugar. I want you to savor this. Real slow, so just lie back, keep them eyes half closed, and let old Herbert tell you what happens next. Now I remember. The first time it happened, real clear, was a young gal, pretty little thing, lived just off the main road where them trees get real thick. Folks said she liked leaving her window cracked at night. Said she liked the cool breeze. But old Herbert knows better. She was waiting for something. It started like it always does. A little tap-tap at the window, soft enough to make her think she imagined it. But then it came again. Tap, 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 like somebody using just the tip of their finger. Real gentle, real patient. She got up, rubbing the sleep from her eyes, and tiptoed to the window, just in her nightie. You could almost feel the chill running up her legs as she leaned real close, pressing her ear to the glass. But when she peeked out, nothing, just fog drifting by, thick and lazy, like it was looking for something too. She waited, breathing real slow, fog fogging up the glass. Then it happened again. Tap, tap, tap. This time a little louder, a little more insistent. Now I know what you're thinking, sugar. Why didn't you just shut the window? Lock it up tight? Well, some folks just can't help but listen. Some folks just gotta know who's calling. And she was one of them. So she slid that window open, just a crack, just enough to let the night air in, and oh, what a smell. Like peppermint, fresh and cool, almost too sweet. But that wasn't all she heard. No, sir. There was breathing, slow and steady, like somebody standing just on the other side, waiting, watching for her. I guess she decided she didn't want to find out, 'cause she slammed that window shut real quick. But you know what, sugar? She kept hearing that tap, tap, tap every night after that, until she left town. Ain't nobody seen her since. Now, wasn't that something? But we're just getting started, and I got a whole lot more to tell you, if you're feeling brave enough to listen. Hey, you know how folks love to talk. Didn't take long for the whispers to spread through Willow's Edge. First it was just that girl, but then, it was something different. The tap-tap started moving, not just on her window, but others. Neighbors began hearing it. First real soft, just a little tickle on the glass, like a branch swaying in the wind. But them trees don't move that way, not when the air's still and the fog's sitting heavy. Folks started doubling up on locks, nailing their windows shut, drawing their curtains tight. But still, that tap-tap kept coming. The stories got wilder. Folks swore they'd hear whispering just before the taps. Soft words, too faint to understand, like somebody crooning real gentle right outside their walls. Some folks, the real brave ones, started leaving their windows cracked, hoping to catch a glimpse, hoping to see what was making all that noise. But nobody ever saw nothing, just that peppermint smell lingering in the air, like somebody had just been there, breathing, watching, waiting. And that's when folks started talking about him, the midnight visitor. They said he was more shadow than man, sliding through the fog, tapping at windows just to see if you'd open up. Just a crack, just enough to let him in. But it wasn't just talk. Oh, no. There was someone who knew more. Someone who'd been watching longer than anyone else, sitting out there on his porch, rocking back and forth, waiting. Ain't that just something, sugar? Old Herbert remembers him real well, the old man on the corner, and I got a real good story about him, if you want to hear it. Now, there was this old fella sat out on his porch every night, rocking back and forth, watching, waiting. Some folks said he was crazy, but I knew better. He'd seen things he wasn't supposed to. They called him Old Man Croaker. Never did find out his real name. Folks just called him that 'cause of the way his voice sounded, like gravel rubbing together. He'd been living in Willer's Edge longer than most folks could remember. Said he'd been there back when the trees were just saplings, and the fog was thin enough you could see clean across town. He used to sit out there in his chair, whittling little wooden things with his pocket knife. Nobody much paid him mind until he started talking about the midnight visitor. Folks just thought he was rambling. But then the taps started, and people started listening. He said he saw it, the shadow, drifting through the fog, long fingers brushing against glass like it was searching, knocking so soft, tap, 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 just waiting for someone to open up. Croaker would sit there, rocking back and forth, his eyes locked on the edge of the woods where the fog got real thick. He'd mutter to himself, counting the taps, like he knew exactly where it would go next. Some folks went out there to ask him to see if he was telling the truth. He'd just nod, eyes still fixed on that fog, his knife scratching away at the wood. "He's looking for something," Croaker would say, voice all scratchy and low. "Always looking, always knocking. Just gotta be brave enough to answer." Most folks just walked away, shaking their heads, calling him crazy. But there were some, the curious ones, who stayed. They'd listen to his stories, listen real close, leaning in when he spoke real soft, just like them whispers outside your window. But Croaker, he stopped talking after a while. Folks said he was getting worse, mumbling to himself more, rocking faster, eyes never leaving the fog, until one night he didn't come out. Porch was empty, chair just rocking back and forth, slow and lazy, like somebody had just been sitting there. Nobody saw him again. But you know what, sugar? That chair kept rocking, even when there wasn't no wind, even when the fog was still. That chair would just creak back and forth, like it was waiting for him to come back. But old Herbert's getting ahead of himself. There's more to this little tale, more than you might be ready for. You want me to keep going, sugar? I bet you do. And then came the nosy ones, the ones that just couldn't leave well enough alone. You always got a few of 'em in every town, don't you? The ones who poke around where they ought not to, thinking they're going to solve some great mystery. But Willer's Edge don't take kindly to folks stirring up its secrets. A couple of local boys, fresh out of school, all full of ideas and no sense, decided they were going to catch the midnight visitor on film. Said they'd seen too many folks vanish, heard too many taps at their own windows. So they set up a little watch party right outside Old Man Croaker's house, where that porch still rocked back and forth, all on its own. And they brought cameras, flashlights, even some of that fancy night vision stuff. Set it all up real neat, pointing at the trees and the fog that drifted like it was alive. They said they were going to sit there all night, if they had to, waiting, watching for something to happen. But here's the funny thing, sugar. It don't happen when you're watching. Oh, no? The midnight visitor, he don't like being looked at. So them boys sat out there for hours, staring into the dark, listening to the crickets, watching the fog roll in thick and lazy. Nothing. Not a tap, not a whisper. That is, until they packed up their things and left. That's when it happened. Croker's porch, that empty chair, it started rocking again, real slow, back and forth, like somebody was sitting in it, just waiting for company. Them boys swore up and down they heard it. That tap-tap, coming from every window at once. Not just Croker's place, but all down the street. Every single pane of glass, like it was calling out, waiting to be answered. They didn't last much longer after that. One of them left town, moved clear across the state. The other one, well, he stayed, said he couldn't stop thinking about it. I reckon you can guess what happened next. He set up cameras of his own all around his house, waiting, watching, just like old man Croker. And wouldn't you know it, he heard the tap-tap, real soft, just a little knock, like somebody asking real polite to come in. But this time, there wasn't no peppermint smell, just fog, drifting in under the door like it belonged there. I guess he got what he wanted. But not in the way he was hoping. But I ain't gonna rush you, sugar. We got plenty more to talk about, plenty more secrets to share, if you're brave enough to listen. Are ya? Oh, I think you are. You ever watch something you can't quite explain, sugar? Them folks in Willow's Edge sure did. Cameras all set up, all quiet like, just humming away in the dark. Midnight crept in, all slow and lazy, fog thick as molasses. And then it happened. There it was, a shadow, just gliding through the mist, not walking. Oh, no, more like drifting. Folks that watched the tape said it was tall, real tall, with long-reaching arms, like he was searching, just brushing his fingers against the glass, looking for something warm, something breathing. The cameras caught it just for a second, and then gone, just like that. But you know what, sugar? The real scary part was that peppermint smell, like it was lingering on the wind, like it had just left and didn't shut the door behind it. That tape got passed around, folks whispering about what they saw. Some said it was a trick of the light. Others weren't so sure. They watched it over and over, leaning real close to the screen, hoping to catch something new each time. But the shadow, it was always the same, always there, just brushing them long fingers against the glass, and then slipping back into the fog. And wouldn't you know it, some of them folks started hearing things after watching it. Little whispers, real soft, just outside their windows. First they thought it was the wind, but then came the tap-tap, gentle, polite, like somebody asking real nice to come in. Some of them opened the windows, too. Oh, I bet you want to know what happened to them. Hey, but I think I'll save that for a little later. I don't want to give you too much too soon. Gotta savor it. Just like them whispers do. Just outside your window, waiting for you to listen. People started disappearing. Not all at once. Oh, no. That'd be too easy. It started with just one or two. Folks that didn't have much family, or maybe just kept to themselves. At first, folks thought maybe they just up and left. Willow's Edge could do that to a person. Get in your head, make you want to move on, start fresh somewhere else. But then it got worse. First there was old man Croker, his chair still rocking back and forth, slow and steady, even when the wind wasn't blowing. Neighbors said they heard that tap-tap the night before, just 3 soft knocks at his window. But nobody saw him after that. Not a trace. Not a whisper. Just that empty chair, rockin' and rockin'. Next, it was the Wilkins boy, just 16, barely old enough to drive. He'd been one of the curious ones. Said he'd heard the whispers outside his window at night, calling his name real soft, like a lullaby. He used to laugh about it, say it didn't scare him none, but that didn't last long. One morning, his mama went to wake him up for school, found his window wide open, fog pouring in like it belonged there. Bed still made, room still neat, but no Wilkins boy. After that, folks started locking their windows again, bolting them shut, drawing the curtains, even nailing boards across the frames. But still, that tap-tap kept coming, soft and patient, like it had all the time in the world, and that peppermint smell lingering just outside, hanging in the air long after the knocking stopped. Some folks tried leaving town, packing up what little they had and driving out before midnight came around. But those that left, well, they never made it too far. Car would break down, or they'd get lost in the fog. And wouldn't you know it, they'd always end up right back in Willow's Edge, tapping on their own window, begging to be let in. But that ain't even the worst of it. No, sir. Things got a whole lot stranger after that. I hope you're still listening, sugar, 'cause this is where things really start to get interesting. That's when folks started getting real desperate. See, it's one thing when strangers disappear, or folks you only see now and again. But when the ones you love start hearing that tap-tap, well, that's a whole different kind of fear. Parents started keeping their kids inside after dark. Wouldn't even let them near a window. Curtains pulled tight, doors locked up. But it didn't matter. Not one bit. That knocking kept coming. Real polite. Real soft. Some folks said it got bolder, like it knew you were listening. Tap, tap, tap. Same time every night. Right at the stroke of midnight. And if you were real quiet, if you just leaned in and listened, you could hear it whispering, not words you could understand, more like breathing, slow and steady, like someone just outside, waiting for you to come look. And some did. Oh, you'd hear about it the next day. Another empty house, another bed left untouched, windows wide open, curtains blowing in the breeze, like somebody just stepped out for a moment, like they'd be right back, but they never came back, not once. The sheriff tried to do something about it, brought in lights, big ones, flooding the whole street with harsh white light, like it'd scare away whatever was out there, but the fog just rolled on in, swallowed that light right up, and the taps kept coming. Soft, patient, like it was laughing at him. And wouldn't you know it, the sheriff, he was next. Last folks saw of him, he was out on his porch, sitting real still, listening real close to the air, like he'd heard something whisper his name. And after that, well, there wasn't much law left in Willow's Edge. But that didn't stop folks from trying. Oh, no. They kept on boarding up them windows, locking their doors, lighting candles, and praying real soft. But when the clock struck midnight, that tap-tap always came back, like it was just reminding them, like it was just waiting. Folks in Willow's Edge started to change, not all at once, but real slow, like the fog was sinking into their bones. They stopped going out after dark, stopped talking about the disappearances, stopped whispering about the tap-tap at their windows. It was like they just accepted it, like it was part of life now, just another sound in the night. Even the children stopped asking questions, They used to be so curious, peeking out from behind curtains, pressing their little faces up against the glass. But not anymore. Parents kept 'em close, pulled 'em away from the windows when the fog started to roll in. Didn't matter, though. Not really. That tap-tap always found its way back. Some folks started leaving gifts outside their windows, little things like flowers, candles, even food sometimes. They said it was just a way to keep the visitor happy, a way to make sure the tap-tap passed them by. And for a while, it seemed to work. The whispers grew softer, the knocks less frequent, and folks started to breathe a little easier. But you know what happens when folks get comfortable, don't you? That's when things go wrong. One night, real late, a storm rolled in. Not the usual fog, but heavy rain. Thunder crashing down so loud it rattled the windows. Folks thought, just for a moment, that maybe it was over, that maybe the storm had washed the fog away. But then, just as the thunder faded, there it was. Tap, tap, tap. Real soft, almost gentle, like it was reminding them. It wasn't going nowhere. That's when the scream started. Not loud, just soft, real muffled, like somebody trying not to be heard. But folks heard it clear as day, even over the rain. And wouldn't you know it, the next morning there were more empty beds, more open windows, curtains flapping in the breeze, that peppermint smell drifting through the streets, and them gifts, the ones folks left out, all gone, like somebody had come and collected them, like payment for a service rendered. But there were no footprints, no sign of nobody passing through, just that fog, sitting heavy and still, like it was watching. And folks just carried on, didn't say a word, didn't dare. Because in Willow's Edge, you learn real quick. You don't ask questions when the tap-tap comes. You just listen and hope it passes you by. That's when things started to unravel. Folks in Willow's Edge got real good at pretending. They smiled when they saw each other on the street, nodded real polite-like, but nobody asked questions anymore. They didn't talk about the empty houses or the chairs still rocking on their own porches. Didn't talk about that peppermint smell that drifted through town late at night, like it was watching, waiting. But behind those locked doors, them boarded-up windows, folks were starting to crack. You could see it in their eyes, that haunted look, like they was listening for something even when it was dead quiet. Some of 'em would sleep with their hands over their ears, trying to drown out the whispers, trying to ignore the gentle tap-tap that always came, always, at the same time, right at midnight. There were stories of folks hearing it louder than before, like it was knocking right inside their heads. Some of them even claimed they could see shadows moving just outside the curtains, long, thin fingers brushing against the glass, dragging along the windowsill like it was scratching at the surface, just waiting to be let in. One night, the mayor tried to leave, packed up his things, loaded up his car, didn't say goodbye to nobody. He drove off just before the fog rolled in, engine rumbling down that long stretch of road out of town. Folks watched from behind their curtains, peered out just enough to see his headlights fade into the distance. But you know what happened, don't you? Next morning, his car was sitting right back in his driveway, all nice and neat, like it had never left, doors still locked, keys still in the ignition, but no mayor, just a peppermint smell lingering in the air, and his front window wide open. They say his chair still rocks every now and then, real slow, back and forth, like somebody's just taking a little rest. But nobody sees them. Nobody dares to look too close. 'Cause in Willow's Edge, you learn real quick when the fog rolls in. You keep your head down and your windows locked, but not everybody listened. Oh no, some folks got curious, and that's when the real trouble started. It didn't take long before a few brave souls got it in their heads that they were going to put a stop to it. Oh, you should have seen 'em, all geared up like they was going on some kind of hunt. Flashlights, radios, even some old hunting rifles. Like that was going to do any good. But bravery and foolishness, well, sometimes they look an awful lot alike. They called themselves the Night Watch. Said they weren't going to wait for the fog to come knocking. They were going to find it, end it, whatever it was. And wouldn't you know it, sugar, they started marching out toward the edge of town, right where the fog hung thickest, where Old Man Croker's porch still rocked real gentle, back and forth, empty as always. The Night Watch spread out, lights sweeping through the mist, flashlights dancing off the trees, cutting through that heavy air like it was alive. They didn't say much, just walked real slow, watching, waiting. For what? They couldn't have known, but they were looking for it just the same. Then it happened. That tap, tap, but louder this time, not gentle, not polite. More like it was calling them out, challenging them. Some of them flinched. Some whispered prayers under their breath. But they didn't stop. Oh, no. They pressed on, lights flashing through the fog, cutting across shadowy shapes that vanished as soon as they appeared. The whispers came next, floating in real soft, drifting through the mist like a lullaby. Some of the Night Watch stopped right there, turned back without saying a word. But the rest, the brave ones, they kept going, one step after another, until the fog closed in behind them, thick and heavy, just swallowing up their lights, leaving nothing but darkness. Folks waited up that night, peered out from behind their curtains, listening real close, but there weren't no more taps, no more whispers, just silence, thick and heavy, like the whole town was holding its breath. And then, just before dawn, the fog rolled back out, slow and steady, leaving the streets slick with dew and the air thick with peppermint. The Night Watch didn't come back, not a single one of them. But if you listen real close, some folks say you can still hear 'em out in the trees, marching through the fog, lights sweeping back and forth, just waiting for someone to join 'em. The disappearances didn't stop after that. If anything, they got worse. Folks didn't whisper about it no more. Didn't look out their windows when they heard that tap-tap. It was like they just accepted it, like they knew there wasn't nothing to be done. But not everyone was content to just wait. There was one who wanted answers. Her name was Mrs. Calloway, a real stubborn woman, if I do say so, gray hair tied up tight, eyes sharp as a hawk's. Her husband had gone missing the year before, one night, right after the taps came, and she didn't take to that real kindly. She didn't take to that at all. She started asking questions, poking around town, stopping by folks' houses, asking if they'd seen things, heard things. Most folks shut their doors, didn't want no part of it, but a few, the ones that still had a little fight left in them. They whispered back, talked about the fog, the whispers, that peppermint smell that never quite went away. Mrs. Calloway wasn't afraid. Oh, no. She wasn't like the rest of 'em. She kept her windows wide open at night, sat in her old armchair, rocking back and forth, waiting. She said if that tap-tap came, she wasn't going to turn away. She was going to open that window wide as it would go and find out what happened to her husband. And one night, just past midnight, she got her chance. The fog rolled in thicker than ever, spilling over the rooftops, sliding through the streets like it owned the place. That peppermint smell was so strong it made the curtains flutter. And then the taps started, real soft at first, just a gentle knock at her window. But Mrs. Calloway, she just smiled, got up real slow, walked over to that window, fingers trembling just a bit, and wouldn't you know it, she pulled that curtain aside, slid the window open, and leaned right out into that fog. They say she was whispering, real soft, like she was talking to someone just out of sight. Then she stepped back, left that window wide open, and just walked right out the front door. Didn't bother to put on shoes, didn't take nothing with her, just walked straight into the mist and vanished. But that ain't even the strangest part, sugar. Oh no, the strangest part is that every night since then, her house, it still lights up at midnight, just for a few minutes, long enough for a shadow to pass by the window, long enough for folks to catch a whiff of peppermint on the wind. And if you're real quiet, if you're real brave, you can hear it. Her voice whispering back from the fog, like she finally found what she was looking for. Ain't that something? But don't you worry, there's still more to tell, much more. And it's just about to get real interesting. For a while after that, things got real quiet in Willow's Edge, like the whole town was holding its breath. Folks kept their windows shut tight, doors locked up good. But there weren't no more tap-tap, no more whispers drifting through the fog. Some folks said the curse was lifted, that maybe Mrs. Calloway did something brave, something that put an end to it all. But old Herbert knew better. I could feel it, lingering just beneath the surface, like the fog was just waiting, watching, biding its time. The peppermint smell never went away. It just got softer, like it was hiding, like it didn't want folks to get too comfortable. Some of the more hopeful ones started cleaning up the boarded windows, patching up the curtains, opening their doors a little wider. You could hear 'em whispering to each other, talking about things going back to normal. But there wasn't no normal in Willow's Edge. Not anymore. That town, it was different now, changed. And then, one night, right around the anniversary of Mrs. Calloway's disappearance, it came back. But this time, it wasn't just the tap-tap. Oh no, it was more than that. The fog rolled in thick, heavier than before. So dense, you couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. That peppermint smell, stronger than ever, clingy and sweet, filling up every room, every hallway. Folks woke up, rubbing their eyes, listening real close, and that's when they heard it. Not just the tap-tap, but something else, something new. Footsteps, real slow, just outside their doors, one after another, dragging along the wood, soft, deliberate, like somebody was taking their time, just strolling down the street, tapping at every window they passed. People huddled up inside, curtains pulled tight, whispering prayers they'd long since forgotten. But the footsteps, they kept coming, never rushing, never slowing, just steady, right through the fog. And wouldn't you know it, some folks couldn't help themselves. They peeked. Oh, I bet you can guess what happened next. But I ain't gonna rush it, sugar. I want you to savor it real slow, just like I do. 'Cause the next part, well, it's what you've been waiting for. The reason why the fog came, and why it never really left. Well, sugar, I hope you got yourself real comfortable. I told you it was going to be a story worth listening to. All them whispers and taps. The fog creeping in real slow, almost like it was alive. I bet you're feeling all cozy now, snug under them blankets. Maybe just a little bit nervous to peek out the window. That's all right. Old Herbert's right here with you. Now, I know what you're thinking. You want to know if it's real, if Willow's Edge is out there somewhere, if them whispers are still drifting through the fog, if the midnight visitor still comes a-tapping. Well, I guess that's something you'll just have to find out for yourself. But if you do hear it, that soft tap-tap on your window, and you get a whiff of that sweet peppermint breeze, well, maybe it's just a dream, or maybe, just maybe, it's him, looking for a little company. Before I let you drift off, I want to thank you for staying with old Herbert. It gets mighty lonely sometimes, and I do appreciate the company. If you want to hear more stories, more little whispers from the dark corners of the world, well, you know what to do. Hit that big old subscribe button. Give it a little tap-tap, like you're knocking on my door, asking for just one more story. I'll be waiting, right here in the fog, just listening for you. Sleep tight, sugar. And don't you go peeking out that window. Not tonight. Not while the fog's still settling. I'll see you real soon. Real soon.